and tradition. Yeah, I heard this funny joke. What do you call a bitter German? A sauerkraut. Speaking of German condiments, Molly here is going to tell you a little about a pickle tradition.
Ever since I can remember, my family has hidden a pickle ornament in our Christmas tree. Now, an adult is specified and hides the pickle in amongst all the other ornaments, and the kids try and find it. And whichever kid finds the pickle first gets an extra special present from St. Nick. Now, I did a little research to see where this tradition came from, and found that it's actually based on a few different myths. There's no actual basis on the story. One of the ones I came up with was that a man named John Lower from Bavaria, Germany, came to the United States to fight in the Civil War. He was captured and taken to prison, and it said that his dying wish was to have a pickle, and that this pickle gave him the strength to live on. Another story comes from Burning Springs, Michigan, which calls itself now the Christmas pickle capital of the world. And each year they have a Christmas pickle festival with a grand dillmeister who hands out pickles at a parade during the special day. And this is a picture of the Christmas pickle, so kind of blends in with the Christmas tree. There you go.
Hold your applause to the end, please. That's great, thank you. I had a great Irish friend, actually I do, and if I ever needed a kidney or a liver, I wouldn't ask her for hers. Just kidding. But speaking of Ireland, Abby here is going to tell you a little something about the Irish parade.
Okay, have any of you ever been in a St. Patrick's Day parade before? Well, I have, and I've done it growing up my whole life. It is really important for my family to celebrate our Irish culture because my grandma came from Ireland when she was just under 14 years old. She came with her brother on the ship called the U.S. Britannica. It was actually the sister ship to the Titanic. Her brother was 18 years old and was a big party boy, and she was sick the whole time on the ship. But she does remember her brother getting her up on the deck to see the Statue of Liberty. Even though she did not come through Ellis Island because it happened to just close, she does have her name on the Wall of Honor. The Wall of Honor is a tribute to all of the immigrants that came through Ellis Island. It is really important to my family to celebrate our Irish culture because if it wasn't for my grandma immigrating, we would not be here today. We celebrate that by going into the St. Paul St. Patrick's Day Parade. And did you know that the first parade wasn't even in Ireland? It was actually in New York City. It started with some Irish soldiers marching through the streets of New York City because they wanted to bring back their Irish culture. So if you ever have the chance to take part in the St. Patrick's Day Parade, I suggest you do because it is a great way to be Irish for a day.
Thank you, Abby, so much. I just have a question. I forgot your name by the chance. What's your name again?
Yeah, my name is Zoom.
Zune, I'm Jordan.
Yeah.
Zune, can I ask you a question?
No.
You sure? Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead. Yeah,
you
sure.
You can translate it well.
I can translate.
How do we know Adam from the Bible wasn't black?
Sorry.
Here, I'll just tell the
speak
answer.
slowly, yeah.
Have you ever tried taking a rib from a black man?
Yeah.
Speaking of food,
No.
Jana here is going to tell you a little about some African American soul food home cooking. Thank you, Nan.
So the African American family is really centered around food. It's kind of a big deal. All the females in this culture learn to cook. You learn to cook whatever the men want, basically. So you guys should enjoy that. Dessert is also a really big deal. That's why I made a cake, and you guys can all have some afterwards. So food is important, and it's at all events. We have a lot of family reunions, and we have a lot of events that are just centered around getting together as a family, because family is important. Food is a big deal because food is something that everyone likes. It's something that most people can agree on, and a lot of food in the South is really delicious, and so it's really just kind of a happy time to get together and make and eat food. Some of the foods that are made are collard greens, cornbread, macaroni and cheese. Some of these foods are historically, they go back to sort of the slave times when that was the only food that was affordable. So potatoes were easy to grow, collard greens were easy to grow, they were easy to make. And so look up where red velvet cake comes from, because red velvet cake is at every social event if you go to an African American event. It's a big deal, and it's something that is really a tradition in our family. We learn how to make it, and we pretty much enjoy it. It goes back to World War II when some of the ingredients for cakes were rationed. Actually, sugar was rationed, so they had to come up with different ingredients to go in the cakes. They used beets, which are red, which is what gave the cake a different color. So it was a way to make the food unique. And African Americans were rationed a little bit more, so they had to come up with a little bit more innovative way to make food and make food.
Thank you. And she's going to cut that up for you guys so you guys can get a taste of that lovely cake, and we'll just continue on with our presentation. Is that all right?
Awesome.
I have another question. It's another joke. Feel free to answer. What do you get when you cross a Filipino and a German? A beautiful daughter. And Jennifer here is going to tell you a little about their cuisines.
Alright, thank you, Jordan. Now, from the German and the Philippine side of my family, the one custom that links to my heritage is the traditional food that we eat. Now, the most popular dishes for the Philippines is adobo, which is pork and chicken raised in vinegar, garlic, and oil. And then we have lumpia, which is like fresh fried spring rolls. And then we have pancit, which is like a noodle and vegetable dish. And the main staple food for the Philippines is rice. We have rice with everything, from the entrees to the appetizers, and even for the desserts, we use rice flour to make all sorts of sweets and pastries. Now the German side of the family is quite different in that the food is more rich and hearty, because you have all the carbs from the potato soup, dumplings, and all the different kinds of breads that you have. And then also you have the big portions of pork, beef, and lamb. And unlike the Philippine tradition with the rice, with eating everything with it, you have the beer. For Germans, you drink lots of beer with like almost everything. But with that, even though the differences in the culture are pretty massive between Philippines and German, it's what makes each culture really unique. And now, the man you've all been waiting for, give it up for Jordan!
Thank you guys. Hold the applause. Hold the applause.
Too many applause.
Baseball,
Yeah.
America's pastime. Who doesn't like baseball? You catch?
Brewers. Nice catch.
Started in 1845, it was a sport that's derived from an English sport called cricket. Baseball's had some great athletes such as Babe Ruth, who hit home runs and distracted Americans from some of the major wars that occurred during baseball's finest years, such as World War I. Baseball is the most watched TV program sports related in the United States, even more than basketball and football, which goes to show how much baseball is a part of the American culture. Baseball teaches and represents values such as teamwork, togetherness, hard work, and virtues such as patience and love. It also teaches and represents freedom. Speaking of freedom, freedom is really important to our country, and I like to celebrate our freedom like many other traditional American families. On July 4th, Independence Day. Jack, can you hold that for me, please? You can hold it up the whole time. I grill out, I soak up the sun, I get my tan on, I go see fireworks to top off the night, to remember what the veterans did to get our rights on July 4th. True Independence Day happens every day because we have the right to be who we want to be in this melting pot we call America. Our former president, Jimmy Carter, stated, "We are not a melting pot, but a beautiful mosaic. Different people, different beliefs, different yearnings, different hopes, and different dreams."